There are many different ways to kill an enemy in Fallout New Vegas. Specifically, there are 106 total weapons with 41 unique variants of some of those weapons. So that's a total of 147 different ways to send your enemies to Jesus. Don't need to look those numbers up. I did that for you. But what if you only wanted to use a gardening tool? What if you were grave robbing and you had to grab the closest thing to you? Can you beat Fallout New Vegas with only a shovel? I was first awoken from my dirt nap by a mustached man named Doc. He asked me what my name was, and I named myself the manliest name I could think of. Then I decided I needed to look like the most basic of the basic-ass bitches. I was going to be their queen. There. I said it. I'm going to say it again, and I will say it forever. Pumpkin spice is gross, and apple cider is the far superior fall drink. Fight me. If you haven't figured this out yet, this is going to be a melee playthrough. So, as for my special stats, I went with 9 for strength, 1 for perception, 8 for endurance, 1 for charisma, 9 for intelligence, 6 for agility, and 6 for luck. For my tagged skills, I went with melee weapons. Duh. Medicine, and for some reason, science. I picked good nature for reasons, and wild wastelands because it is mandatory for any New Vegas playthrough as my first 2 traits. After Mr. Doc was finished with his psych evaluation, thus proving that I was a very stable genius, I proved how much of a stable genius I was by stealing all of his stuff. I mean, I cleaned him dry. The poor bastard was going to have to live the rest of his life in an empty house. Just as I was about to leave, he gave me his wife's vault suit and Pip-Boy. Like, ew, I have a boyfriend. But I took it anyways, and I was let loose onto the world. Getting a shovel is rather easy. You just have to go see Chet in Goodsprings and pray you have enough caps to purchase one. Which for me was easy, as I sold off all the stuff I stole from Mr. Doc and his beautiful mustache. As for a melee weapon, the shovel is not too bad. When you're a lower level at least, it does a base damage of 12, and if your melee skill is above 100, critical hits have a chance to knock down your enemies. After obtaining the shovel and a few healing supplies, I went to see Sunny Smiles to complete the tutorial for some easy XP. She had me shoot down some glass bottles because their existence was bothering her. Now you might say, the bearded ginger, you're not using a shovel, but shut up! This part of the game does not count. Those bottles are not real, and neither am I. They cannot hurt you anymore. I also forgot to record this part, but you can trust me when I say, those bottles did not stand a chance against my superior skill. I followed Sunny Smiles to help her clear out some geckos that weren't bothering anyone other than her. After killing all the geckos, I decided that there were not going to be any survivors. Sunny was not concerned about the settler getting killed by the geckos, and by the geckos I mean me. Sunny then asked me to get some plants so she can learn me some healing powder. Nothing interesting happened other than I found a cool hat in this fridge. Neat. And I learned that not only is a shovel an effective melee weapon, it can be used to dig things up, like graves. Who knew? Certainly not me. After Sunny showed me the thing, I met a man who claimed his girlfriend was in trouble and needed to be saved. I told him I already had a boyfriend, then left to go clear out the area of the things that lived there. Leveled up, and put all the points into melee weapons and picked the Black Widow perk. The Black Widow perk is a special tool that we'll use later. I then found some supplies, nothing that interesting, but these orange balls, they were the real reward. Them and these 5 aces. Weird. I went back to tell the strange man that he tricked me. Damn it. I told him that I had a boyfriend, and I had to kill him. If I could not have those orange balls, no one could. I then decided to help Goodsprings with their Joe Cobb problem. And by helping them, I mean making them take on the powder gangers without any supplies and armor. Because my barter and speech skills are way too low. As an act of frustration, I covered Easy Pete with tumbleweeds. He now has to sit there and be itchy. Surprisingly, we won. I did most of the work, but Ringo and Sunny helped, I guess. After I cleaned up all the blood off of me, I decided I was going to go to Prim. I was stopped by an NCR soldier, and he informed me that Prim was off limits. I told him I had a boyfriend, like, seriously. And then I killed him, and I took his clothes. I figured it would be good to have an NCR uniform. The blood doesn't really matter, they don't seem to care. So, once I was in Prim, I went to go rescue the coward that was trapped in the Bison Steve Hotel. No real problems in there, other than the leader, who had a flamer. But he died eventually like the rest of them. After rescuing the coward, I decided that Prim needed a new sheriff to help bring law and order to the town. I also decided that the type of law they needed was the best type of law. Martial law. And in order to do this, I had to go to the Mojave outpost. Well, nothing too eventful happened on my travels. I killed some bugs, killed some people, and I discovered Nipton. Oh, Nipton. Oliver Swanwick informed me that he had won the lottery and that his grand prize was his freedom. I told him that I had another, bigger, second prize for him. He was so excited to receive this prize, he ran and hid behind a bus. I gave him his prize. It was his freedom from life. He accepted his fate. I met Caesar's Legion and Vulpus Inculta. Then I killed all the people on the cross. There's only one God, and only He is allowed to die on the cross. I then traveled to the NCR outpost to bring law to Prim. Convinced Major Knight, that's a weird name, to spare troops to help Prim. Then informed Ranger Ghost that Nipton was no longer her concern. I helped Ranger Jackson with killing some ants. On my way to the target location, I was attacked by a group of rat scorpions. I decided that this would be the perfect time to play Puppet Master and make the rat scorpions fight the ants for my love. And this did not work, and they all started to follow and try to attack me. But then I realized, in this moment, I've never had more subscribers and followers than I did at this moment. These ants and rat scorpions were the most I've ever had subscribed to this channel. But, unfortunately, like my channel, they had to die before ever having the chance. I went back to Ranger Jackson to inform him that the bugs were indeed dead. He gave me a service rifle, which is a decent weapon, but it's useless to me. I fast traveled back to Prim to inform the NCR that they would be in charge of the town. I then set my sights onto, well, what I thought I was going to be doing, which was discovering key areas of the map to make later quests easier. However, what I was actually doing was wandering around the desert aimlessly with no clear purpose. I did end up discovering Clark Field, a Viper encampment, and Novak, which gave me valuable XP, but in the grand scheme of things weren't really relevant. But since I was in Novak, I decided that that town needed my help, whether they wanted it or not. Before I thrusted my special kind of help onto these undeserving people, I sold all unneeded supplies to Cliff Briscoe and bought more stim packs. I went up to speak with Boone about his dead wife or something. I don't really know. I stopped listening to him once he said the words dead and wife. I thought I could help catch a Brahmin murderer while I waited to do the thing with Boone. I found and killed the Nightkin, which surprised me in how easy it was to kill. I went back to speak to the farmer to say he owes me and my shovel big time for helping him. However, I made a big mistake. While rushing through the dialogue options, I accidentally asked him to meet me by the big lizard. Realizing my mistake, I went right to Janine to see if I could convince her to meet me and do the thing with Boone. I could not. So I killed her. No one cared about her death, which told me that no one would care if the farmer died. So I let Boone take the shot, and then I found this really cool hat on this dead body that just appeared at my feet. It was the weirdest thing. Went up to speak with Boone, and I did it again. I spammed through the dialogue to get the conversation as done and over with as quickly as I could. In doing so, Boone was big mad. But he fell when my shovel hit him a few times. Then he fell out of the lizard's mouth. I really don't know how he died, but, anything could have happened up there. I then decided that my shovel and I wanted to go to Helios 1. I was feeling helpful and generous, for some reason. I was going to help fix the power station to send power to all of the Mojave. This, I thought, would be a good test to see how the shovel compared to the metal death machines. And surprise, surprise, it was not as bad as I was thinking it would be. Most of the robots took 4 to 6 hits to shut down. I fixed the generator all by myself. Didn't need the help of that maintenance robot. And I went to the top of the tower and flipped the switch. While I was up there, I wanted to see if I could take the express elevator to the bottom. And I could. But I was just too much of a basic-ass bitch to survive the impact at the bottom. I informed the follower that I did the right thing, and he seemed like he cared. Or not, or whatever. I had a hard time reading that guy. After Helios 1, I went on to discover more locations that would make the endgame go a little bit smoother. While I was on my travels, I was attacked by some Viper people and Cazadors. God, I hate those things. Cazadors are proof that God is a comedian and we are a joke. After those fucking things toward me a new asshole, I realized I would need some help. I realized I did not need a boyfriend, but I needed a girlfriend. I don't judge. I just simply don't care enough to judge. You do you. Just leave me alone. I don't like talking to you people. But I headed to the 188 trading post to hook up with Veronica. Veronica and her beautiful, spicy metal fist. Oh, the things she can do with that fist, it's enough to make me blush. Veronica agreed to travel with me, and we agreed that we were going to New Vegas where our first official date would be magical. Oh, the things we could do. Veronica had this great idea to head over to Boulder City to pick on some sissy crying over his fake brother fake dying. The sissy died. I don't know what happened, but you no longer have to worry about it. I was then asked by Lieutenant Monroe to help them with some great cons they found in the city ruins. We then helped the cons be great in the afterlife. They were so excited to meet God, they shot us with all of their bullets in excitement. They were so damn happy to go out as a family. After helping the cons, we got back onto our date. Veronica and I were so happy we went and saw all the things around the strip. We went to West Side and passed through Thorn, but we did not go see any animals fighting to death for our entertainment. That's wrong, and you all should be ashamed for liking that. Gross. Veronica had this great idea to go to H&H Tooling for a super secret key card. She said it would be useful for something, but didn't really explain much after that. H&H was nothing too difficult. A lot of metal things that were kind of used to sort of be living, but are no longer. We stopped at the gun runners for a few things before going to Freeside, like combat armor. Once in Freeside, I realized that I needed to get more caps to get into the strip good and proper. So I headed to the nearest establishment of ill repute for some blackjack. Blackjack was so easy, but I was told I was too good at blackjack and I had to leave. Anyway, but I finally had the caps that I needed to get into the strip. And then, damn it, Victor! I could not avoid him any longer. He just had to say howdy. I told him to fuck off, I was busy. And I was. I was going to the Tops to see a very special man. I had to see a special man in a checkered suit. So, with the Black Widow perk, you have an option to do the nasty with Benny. I put on my best dress, boy I felt like a slut, and went to go meet Benny. I could tell he was into basic ass bitches by the way he was so surprised to see that I was alive. The plan was all coming together. I had sex with Benny. It was only okay. He fell asleep right after, and I felt slightly disappointed. In that moment, though, I hatched a plan. Well, it was more of a concept, but what if? What if I was Benny? I let the real Benny sleep the forever sleep, and I could not be happier than I was in that moment. But at this point in the playthrough, I still have not decided who I was going to side with. So I met with Yes Man to start his quest line, not knowing what I was going to do. The first thing I did, for no particular reason, was to go see Mr. House. During the conversation with Mr. House, I got bored and started spamming random dialogue options, not knowing what the real consequences of this would be. Well, I did it. I fucked up really bad. Mr. House was big mad and sent his robots to kill me. They didn't. Even Victor and the concubine died. In a fit of rage, I went and unplugged Mr. House. What? Okay, well, not so much of an unplugging and more of a strong shovel swing to the face. This was it. I guess I cut my options down to helping Yes Man, the NCR, or Caesar. I let Yes Man into the Lucky 38 to let him do the thing with Mr. House's corpse, which was kind of creepy to watch. But then I watched Yes Man upgrade to the robots. At this point, I thought it was as good of a time as any to meet the rest of the factions. And a good place to start is the White Gloves. Where do I even start? Well, I tried the main quest there, Beyond the Beef, good and proper. I really did try. I almost got beat to death in the dead guy's room. I had to have Veronica help, because I can't fight back if I don't have a shovel, and they took my shovel. I ended up meeting that one guy in the spa, but he died really suddenly. And then it sounded like there was an intense fight outside the door, but I was too scared to watch. At this point in the game, my charisma, sneak, speech, and strip frame were still way too low to really get the good or bad ending of this quest. I was frustrated and stuck, and in my darkest moment, I hatched an idea in my head. What if everyone that was involved with cannibalism, either directly or indirectly, died? I thought only a few White Gloves had to die, like, the main ones. But a lot more people died than I was anticipating, like a lot more. Well, that's all in the past now, and I won't let the past drag me down. No matter how much blood there was. After handling the White Gloves, I was off to Red Rocks Canyon. I was hoping to help the Khans set up a family reunion in the Big Sky. I did have some problems on the way, though. I ran into a bunch of fiends that were really good at killing me. Like, really good at killing me. Then I ran into a bunch of Cazadors, and those things were very good at killing me. Even better than the fiends. Alright, on a side note here, whoever put Cazadors in this game, fuck you. I hope both sides of your pillows are warm at night every time you try to sleep, you evil sadistic bastard. Alright, back on track here. Let's see, where am I? Oh, yes. I did eventually make it to the Khans by just ignoring everything that I could. Well, I got there, and I talked to Regis, thus fulfilling the quest for Yes Man. But I was not done there. I had a party to plan. Papa Khan got to see the rest of his family in death. He was more accepting than I thought he would be, and boy, he did not put up a fight. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Carl. Carl died too. I did not want him to feel left out. I set up the big table for everyone and wished them a good time. I believe they had a good time, I think. I didn't hear anybody complain, so I feel like I did a good job. Veronica said that she wanted to go visit some of her family. She wanted me to meet her dads, but for some reason that will never be known, I don't even think God knows why this happened. Once the hermits were shown to me, I left. I guess I must have got cold feet or something. But my next stop was Gamora. I know. I should have just done all the factions that were on the strip first. But I'm not that type of person. I like a little mystery and chaos in my life. The only thing you need to know about the Omertas at Gamora is that they kicked me out for being too good at blackjack. And now they're all dead. How could they stop me from winning? I was on a hot streak. They got what they deserved. I did leave the, how do I say this correctly? The forced laborers alive. There you go, forced laborers. Their punishment was to watch me get blood everywhere, and they had to clean that mess up. I was then off to see another very special man in my life. I was told if I wanted to meet him, I had to go to Cottonwood Cove, and he would send a ride for me to come see him. I think he wanted to be my sugar daddy. And of course, I'm talking about Caesar. He was too bald for me, and like in real life, I hate being bald. So like my real wife, I pretended that being bald was no big deal, and agreed to help him just this one time. Caesar tried to shower me with praise. He knew all about the good things I had done to help everyone around the strip. It almost worked. Almost. He asked me to do something in the basement. Kind of weirded me out, but I'm not no pussy. He wanted me to clean up the mess that the last owner left. So I did the opposite. I made such a mess of the dead robots, but more importantly, I upgraded all the robots per Yes Man's request. No matter what you do in Caesar's basement, he is happy, because he's kind of dumb. He thinks the ground shaking was a good thing. It wasn't. I just sealed his fate. And in that moment, I decided I was not going to side with the Legion. Solely due to how they pronounce Caesar's name. It is Caesar, not Kaiser, you dumb shits. Learn your Roman history. It wasn't Julius Caesar. It was Julius Caesar. God. But anyway, Caesar wanted me to get the boomers on his side, but I had better ideas. I needed the boomers on my side, whatever side that would be. But in order to do so, I had to make a bet with George. I told him that I could make it to the boomers without dying. I made it to the boomers without dying. No issues at all. I then fast traveled back to George because walking was too hard and I was lazy, and I got my money. And then I killed him for doubting me. Don't ever doubt me. Ever. Pearl wanted me to help her and her people with some boring busy work to prove that the wasteland was worth their time. So I decided to be polite and helped. I helped the doctor with his patients. I opened them up and I poked at them with this cool stick that I found outside. What I did must have worked because they all survived, despite my best efforts to kill them. I then listened to that little shit-stained boomer talk about their history. Seemed like commie propaganda to me, but I was polite and just ignored everything he said. I just daydreamed about dunking this kid into a tub of FEV. But anyway, I then fixed the boomer's solar panels. Not hard, just annoying. I stole all the parts from Helioswone and the NCR didn't notice a thing. Or say anything. Those dumb bastards. Once the boomers had power again, they needed someone to kill some ants. Again, I did that, and it was not hard. Really just a mild inconvenience at best. With all of that being said and done, Pearl informed me that I needed to help Loyal get the old bitch out of the lake. And by the old bitch, I mean ancient World War II aircraft. I did it. I still want to know how the hell they got that plane from Lake Mead back to Nellis by the time I fast traveled back to Nellis. I guess some things we'll never know. And finally, it was on to the last quest. I decided I needed to help Loyal's bitch find his lover. God, this has to be the most annoying quest in this game. And I completed it without killing anybody. That was the hardest part. The boomers were now ready to help me, and they agreed to help me. They did not agree to help the Legion, not the NCR, but me. Now, let's get back to the Brotherhood. My plan was just to blow up the bunker and leave Veronica inside. However, I felt like, for some easier XP, to do some quest lines in there. I spoke with Elder McNamara. He wanted me to find a bunch of dead people that he sent out to their death. On my way to find the corpses, I was stopped by Paladin Hardin, and he told me that he wanted to be the Big Daddy, and he wanted the Big Daddy to be fired. I guess I had a bunch of work to do. Great. So, I helped a nerd get rid of a computer virus. Once the virus had been eliminated, I told the scribe to use protection next time he looked at those websites again. You know what websites I'm talking about. I can't say them here. This is a family show. I then went to find all 3 dead people. There's one by Nellis. There's one near the Brotherhood bunker keeping a bunch of centaurs company. I killed them. They can't have him. And the last one is at RepCon headquarters. Once I retrieved all the stuff from their corpses, and boy, I got some stuff, I headed back to Paladin Hardin to come up with a plan that would make him everyone's daddy. Well, it worked, and I feel like I did a good thing, so I left the Brotherhood forever. Veronica didn't seem to care. She just wanted to punch more stuff. So this is it. We're getting to the end game. Just a few more loose ends to tie up. I gave Yes Man all the information he needed about the local factions, and then I headed off to Hoover Dam to stop an assassination. There is no assassinating of political figures on my watch, not unless I'm doing the killing. So, I disarmed the bomb that was on Kimball's vertibird and took care of the sniper that was looking to put a hole in Kimball's head. I then stopped to watch the rest of this patriotic speech. I laughed way too hard at the end of the speech, and the president was safe. For now. All that was left to do was to go to El Dorado substation and install the thing for Yes Man. And boy, I was so fast in there, the NCR did not have a chance to react, for I am speed. That and I dressed as an NCR soldier and took a bunch of cocaine. But you didn't need to know that. This is it. This is where the real game begins. The fight for the dam. But I had some things to do first. I went to Camp McCarran to beat up a Centurion guard from the Legion. He did not like me, but he sure did like my fists. He kept running into my fists over and over and over. He must have been dizzy after running into my fist because he told the mean NCR lady all about his boy band. I think it was supposed to be a secret. Oh well. After feeling good that I did something nice and condemning a man to die in the process, I went on to solve a Scooby-Doo mystery. Someone was being a tattletale and saying mean things about the NCR. He was sending super secret messages in a super secret place. Can't have that. Snitches get stitches. Or a shovel to the face. Before he tried to eat my shovel, he told me the monorail was going to blow up. Can't have that. I love trains. Defusing the bomb was not that hard, since I knew where it was and what wire to pull. It was the red one. No, wait. It was the green one. No. Or was it the blue one? Now let's get some things straight. I finally had made my decision who I was going to side with, and it was going to be me. And by that I mean Yes Man. And why not? I'm the best person I know. So the real game was about to begin. The fight for my love had started. I did the best to ignore most of the fighting on the dam. I did fight one person and spanked him so hard with my shovel that he flew into space. It was so beautiful. I almost cried. I ran into the dam, and once I was in the dam, I ignored the heavy troopers guarding the control room. I decided not to blow up the dam. Once I was done talking to Yes Man, I helped a little in killing the heavy troopers. Veronica was a maniac and just kept punching them. I didn't want to stop all of her fun, so I let her kill them. I had to ignore all the fighting in the dam itself because both sides were trying to kill me. The switch was flipped and the power was now flowing through the dam. I went outside to head to the Leggett's camp. That's when I saw the amazing sight of a World War II era B-17 dropping bombs onto the Legion. It was enough to bring a tear to my eye. God bless America. I did have some help getting to the Leggett's camp. I was escorted by some robots, and boy were they good at killing things. Now, guys, I have a secret to tell you. This whole game once I had my melee skill maxed, I was dumping points into speech and to barter. This was going to be a backup plan in case I could not defeat the Legate. If you do not approve of this, please dislike the video. I do understand. I couldn't keep this life from you forever. But I was going to give it the old college try. I killed as many as I could in the camp before confronting the Legate. With that done, it was time. It was time for the real game to begin. I took every chem I had and approached the Legate. With my improved speech and barter skills, I was able to convince him to fight me man to man, or man to woman. I was ready for one hell of a fight. And this was kind of unexpected. Due to my melee skill being at 100, I was able to knock the Legate down and just beat him to death slowly. He stayed down for the majority of the fight, and I beat him so goddamn hard. There was a brief moment where he was no longer hostile to me, and I had the option to talk with him. I was not going to fall for that. He died. Just like that. In a ragdoll state, unable to fight back. What a bitch. I put on his hat and carried his body all the way to the front doors so everyone in the camp could see. The explosion at the gates blew the body out of my hands and made me mad. General Oliver then tried to bully me into surrendering. I was not having any of it. I asked Yes Man to give the general my response. General Oliver then went for a long fall. It was beautiful. And then I beat Fallout New Vegas with only a shovel. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel.